Welcome to your 20-minute prenatal yoga practice. And the first and most important thing that you're going to learn in this session is breath. So we'll review the breaths and then you can implement them at any point throughout your practice, because that's really what's going to serve you when you have the baby, not all the lovely positions that we're using to help you feel more comfortable during your pregnancy. So you can sit on your ball for this part and just start sort of moving your hips around in circles with your feet spread, legs wide, toes turned out, and just start to warm up your pelvis. You can roll your shoulders a few times if you like, and if it feels comfortable for you to close your eyes, you can. And the first breath we're going to learn, so that the bigger you get, you feel like you're supporting your core, is shush breath. So remember, we keep that really released face, released eyes, released jaw. We breathe in through the released jaw, loose teeth, and we blow out with a shh. And you should feel that as you're doing that shush breath, that your ribs are closing and that your belly button is moving in to sort of create some fire in your belly and hug your baby. So we'll do that a couple more times as you're moving around in circles. All the way down to close and empty the lungs, and maybe just gently lift up on your pelvic floor, those muscles on the inside of the sitting bones, just so you have the awareness of what it feels like for them to be lifted, as well as how it feels for them to be released. And I'm hoping that you're breathing as I'm talking here, doing your shush breaths. Okay. Then you're going to change directions with your hips, so you're going to start to go the other way, moving around, really focusing, because of SI joint pain that happens in pregnancy, really focusing on tucking your tailbone, lifting your pubic bone. And you're going to do a wide open throat and mouth breath. So even if you're not doing any structured breath in this practice, you should at least be breathing. So we just breathe in through a wide open mouth and an open throat, right at the back of the mouth, and out. So that if you were in labor, you're constantly having that awareness of released face, release shoulders and neck, and breathing in, out. Usually we do in to kind of grow longer, and we usually exhale on our effort. Okay, so that's worth remembering as well. Then finally, just to release tension and to teach you to be comfortable with making noises and sounds and releasing in labor, we do the horse lips breath. So try to do your figure eights now with your pelvis. So you're drawing forward to the opposite corner as you go back, all the way around to the opposite corner to that one, and then scooping your tailbone under to come to the top as we do our horse lips breath. So it's a breath in through a really released face, and then a breath out to really flutter those lips and release tension. And we know that really helps us release tension in the pelvic floor, in the booty, in the legs, when labor becomes really intense for us. So try one more, breathing in. You can even make sounds. Good. And I'll teach you the sleep breath when we're in restful positions, but that's really good for you to do in between contractions. Okay, so now that you've gone in one direction with your eights, you're going to go and switch directions, and we'll just do cooling breath, because I know you're probably building up some heat now. So you just breathe in through the with the tongue behind the teeth, or with the tongue in the shape of a hot dog, and out. In, out. And that will cool your body every time. And if you feel dizzy when you're doing that, you're going to keep your eyes open. Okay, so from here, just bring your hips to a standstill and ease yourself off of the ball. You're going to come to standing position. And you're just going to start to swing like a palm tree. Just to keep you in sight here, I'm going to stay low, but you'll be standing with your feet about hips distance apart, real soft knees, tailbone going down towards the floor and underneath you. Feel your pubic bone lifting up, and you're just going to start to swing those arms. And you do any type of breath that you want. I really encourage you to do intuitive movement. You should feel that when your arms are low, that you're sort of releasing that SI joint, those really firm bits just above the tissue of the bum. And then you should feel that as you bring the arms up towards the midline, you're starting to open up across your chest and your shoulders. And there's a belief in yoga that when we release across the heart chakras and the lower sacral chakras, that we create freedom there. And you want to feel free to sort of use your emotions however you need to in labor, and certainly you want to feel free below the belt as well. And then you can start to move your feet up and off the floor, or you can keep them grounded. As you bring the arms up and over the head, you can switch and release right and left shoulder just to open up for your neck, and then all the way through the midline. And then all the way down low, and you just start to tap and just let the momentum leave your arms. Good, and then you just stand grounded, palms facing front, shoulder blades squeezing together, heart lifting high, and you just breathe down to baby. And maybe you do shush, shh, to tuck your tailbone, lift the pubic bone, and just feel what it feels like to be completely stable on your legs. Good. You're going to keep that same feeling of stability as you move into Utthita Parsvottanasana. So just make sure that I'm still in sight here. So I'm just going to move back a little bit further. So you're going to have your feet nice and wide. Turn your toes towards maybe your garden or out towards your window. And you're going to bend into that knee of the toes that you just turned out. And you're just going to keep your knee above your ankle. And again, work with bringing your tailbone underneath you and lifting your pubic bone up. And you'll start to feel that lovely stretch going into your bum, which really needs to open up quite a bit, and your lower back. And then take your free arm and extend it up towards the ceiling, and you can just work with opening up your chest and your belly if you like. But what really helps you get breath into your ribs and strengthen your spine and your legs is by extending that arm so that the bicep is at the ear and you get nice and long. You can always have your bench underneath you and put your hand elbow that was on the thigh, that arm can extend and hand can go onto a block. And you want to give yourself 5 whole breaths. So in, out. You've probably already been here for about 3. In, out. And on that last breath, you breathe in and the arm comes back up towards the sky. Just release your hand onto your thigh and come up part way, breathing in. And then breathe out as you slide all the way up. And then turn the toes that were turned out in, and then your other ones out. And you just want to be wide enough that you feel like you're getting nice and open through your pelvis. Legs are strong. And then we go for 5, pardon me, on the other side. Okay, so really feeling that you're tucking your tailbone, lifting your pubic bone, reaching across your ribs, and just feel all that lovely space you're creating for you and the baby. 2 more breaths, breathing in, out. Last one, as you're breathing in, the arm comes up towards the ceiling that was reaching over your ear there. Exhale it down to your waist, hand comes to the front thigh, and just come up halfway. And then completely release yourself all the way up. And just feel free to shake out your legs, shake out your thighs, and then bring your feet nice and close together. And then to get yourself down to the floor, they're close enough together that you obviously have space for baby. You can just start to dance yourself down. Once your fingertips reach the ground, you come down onto one knee, down onto the other knee. And we're back into seated position. So come into half cross-legged position, so you always want to focus on keeping that pelvis lovely and open. So bring your right foot in front and let your toe, let the ball of your foot touch the inside of that thigh that you've now bent to the back. You should feel a nice little groin stretch initially, okay? And then the same arm as your bent knee that's in the front is going to extend up towards the ceiling, and then your other hand is going to just extend away from the hip of the back leg. And you reach up and then over. Good. And we're doing this to create space in the SI joints, to stretch and lengthen the back. And remember that even as you're leaning to the side, you're trying to anchor both of your sitting bones down, just feeling like you're really rooting through your spine. You root down through your hips and pelvis and lift up through your ribs. Just creating lots of space. And this is really great to do in early labor for you, just to get your head in the game. Last breath. And then maybe a as you come all the way down, and of course we're going to go to the other side, just taking care that the sitting bone of that back leg is not reaching off the floor, that our shoulder blade is not compressing the neck. We've got the shoulder down the back. It's just the arm creating that length from the base of your hip bone up below your ribs. All those spaces where the baby lives, we're trying to reach and lengthen out of them. 3 breaths. 4. 5, maybe going a little bit more open. And then inhale, push into your hand on the floor to bring your spine up nice and tall. And then just drop the arms, and then reversing your legs. The leg that was at the back is at the front. We stabilize our pelvis by just letting that front ball of the foot stay glued to the back knee, but you can always bring the back leg further back. You can just reorient it however you need to so you can get those sitting bones down. Okay, and then you're reaching up and over. Just take a moment to enjoy. Pulling that SI joint right up and away from the back of your pelvis. You can do a little bit of sound if you like. And on the 5th breath, maybe you just arc your body over a little bit more. Push into the hand that's on the floor. Inhale to come up. Other arm comes over. Exhale. You can do this rainbow effect, or you can do what I did before, which was swooping down towards the floor. You want to really move from an intuitive place. Does it feel better for you to move you and the baby forward, or does it feel better for you to arc and move the baby back? Both are safe. 3, 4, 5. Push into the floor. Lengthen up through the ribs. Just tuck the chin in. Lean the spine back for a moment. And release down. Great. Okay, you're going to come into your lizard pose here. So lizard pose, you start from all 4s position. So just lean forward. Swing your feet around to the side. Okay. You want to have initially both knees under the hips, legs wide, and you can just hear my hip release. You might want to swing your hips right and left, or you can lean your bum back and rest in a shell stretch for a moment. And then you're going to heel toe your right foot forward first, and then tuck your back toes under to bring your back knee as far back so you start to feel a stretch through the psoas on your back leg. And then we just keep the knee over the ankle to be safe, and then we lift our toes